Hello and welcome back to What's Bubbling at ZIM. I'm Dr. Abstract, and in this bubbling we're going to take a look at some more things that are new in ZIM 018. So let's go to the ZIM site now, zimjs.com, and when we do bubbling videos we are showing new things. Yay! I've got lots of bubbling videos. My gosh, I remember when we just started. But we're going to go take a look at what's new in 018. You can find that here, but if this banner is something different in the future, you might want to come up here. These are versions of ZIM, and it will show you all of what's new in the different versions as well. Okay, so even if you're on 019, it's probably going to be up here. Okay, coming on down, we've already done bubblings on this one and on this one and in general, which included the DAT. Let's take a look at the hit test here. So we've got this, which is we're doing hitTestRectPoint, hitTestRectPoint. So what we're doing is we're finding a bunch of points here randomly in these containers, and we're finding out if those points are hitting a rectangular shape. So that's an equation-based hit test versus just hitTestPoint. So we've got hitTestPoint. That checks to see if a point is hitting an unusual shape. So it looks at the color of what's underneath it and decides if it's hitting it. That is a pixel color comparison, which is going to be slightly slower than a calculation. Is this X and Y point within the bounds of a rectangle or within the radius of the circle? Sweep. Okay, so these are calculation based, and they will be just a little bit faster than hitTestPoint. Okay, which hitTestPoint will work on any shape, so it's handy still to have that. So, shall we take a look at how that works? And there is the results of it. The points that hit are blue, and the other points that didn't hit are a different color. So let's drop this down and take a look at the code for this new hit test one. So we're bringing in ZIM 018. It's a touch awkward in that we've got two containers. Here's one container that's a third the height and it goes across the width, and this is a third the height and goes across the width. Then we've located those on the stage, and we've put a rectangle in one and centered it in there. I suppose we moved it down a little bit too. Yeah, so this is centered on this container. Don't know why. Oh, we moved it over. Okay, so yeah, we moved it over to here, and we moved that one over to there, rather than being right on top of one another. Not that it matters. And then we loop 600 times, and this parameter of our ZIM loop will actually loop in time, almost like an interval. So it will do 600 times, and each time it does that loop, it waits that interval time. So we could have done that in an interval as well. As we're looping here, so we did it without an interval first, which is fine. It works without an interval. Save that up and open in browser here. And it just happens right away. Boop. Okay, so there they are. But we thought after we did that loop, we said, oh, well, it'd be kind of cool to bring it in time. And so we just added that to the ZIM loop, and we get this. Fun, huh? So one issue is we're adding the points or the little circles to this container. We're adding little circles to this container, and that means they're not at 0, 0. So we have to find out the point with. Do we have to do that? I think we do. Let's see. Or where did we put those points? Let's have a look. There's new circle. Yeah, we located in R and we located it in C. I wonder why we had to go local to global to do the hitTestRectPoint. Interesting. Let's just think about that, if we want that or not. Hit tests on points are always global points. Yeah, there's probably there might be a bound setting. I wonder if there is. So local bounds is a parameter that was used on some hit tests, I think. Let's have a look. Oh, good. This is going to be really quick bubbling. Now we've added some meat to it. So I want to go to the docs and check out HitTest. So HitTestPoint bounds. Collapse these HitTest points. Bounds. What we're looking for is a local. No, so none of those except maybe the grid local. So the grid has, HitTest grid has local. Bounds check shows where the bounds is. So yeah, none of the other ones has the HitTest local. So that means they're all global based. And yet our points are within another container, even though the object is also within that container. So that's kind of like a little bit odd, I suppose. We're checking to see if the rect, even though the rect is inside the same container as the point, we're checking to see if the rect is hitting that global point. So the point is global. And therefore we have to take the point that we made, which is where we position the circle inside of the rectangle, or sorry, inside of the container. So we positioned all these little circles inside the container. Oh, I've just realized that we don't have 600 points. We've got 600 inside each one. Yeah, looks like it. And we set that to a global point. So just watch out for that. Usually you won't have to do that. If they're both global, the point is global, but if the object is on stage, that's considered global, and it would be fine. But if the object is within another container, that's still fine with a global point, but our points are actually inside a container, and the object's inside the container. So yeah, that's the issue. If the point is inside a container, then you need to use, you got to set that to global, and that's how it's done. So the R is our container that the point is in right there. And we change a local coordinate of whatever px and py, whatever x and y we added that circle to, which is being randomly located in there. That allows us, the reason why we did this is so that we could get a bunch of colors in this strip, and a bunch of different colors in that strip. If we just randomly put them on the stage, then I suppose we could have just randomly made them global, starting from the top left of the rectangle, going the height of the rectangle, but instead we just threw them in the rectangle. Yeah, whatever. Luckily, we know how to use the localToGlobal, which is another matter, huh? I feel like I'm rambling on this one, but will you forgive me? Will you forgive me? Go eat a chocolate. You'll feel better. I want to go eat a chocolate. Okay, so once we do that, we're then operating on the point, which is the global version of the local point there. And we're setting it to blue if it hits. So it was red. Now it's blue if it hits. It was yellow. Now it's blue if it hits. And that's why the ones that are hitting are blue. And the ones that aren't are those other colors. Yay! Woot, woot, woot. And don't forget to update the stage. I don't think we automatically update the stage in a loop. So we refresh here. Usually you wouldn't update the stage in a loop. So what you just saw there are some of them from the, when ZIM loads in, it refreshes the stage a few times as it's getting the window there. And if I do this, whoop, there they all are. So if I did that while we're going, there's some, and there's some more. That's probably the end of it. So resizing also updates the stage. Anyway, we want to manually update the stage there as we do. Nothing to do with our hit test, just ZIM stuff. Okay, each one that comes in, or each pair, I guess, that comes in, we're updating the stage for that. All right, yay, woot woot. The rest is template stuff. Okay, so that was hit tests and a couple new hit tests. You want to use those if you want to be really fast, if you want to find out if a point is within a rectangle or within a circle. There you go. we, as you saw there, have a bunch of hit tests, and so you want to choose the right one. And that reminds me, we do have, if you go to the ZIM site, so there's our bunch of hit tests there. That's under the methods section. If we go to ZIM and then to the gold bars and then to tips, there is a tip on hit tests, and we have not updated that. So there's hit tests, and this talks about hit tests. Does it give a list of different types of hit tests? Not really. Good. All right, so if it gave a list of hit tests, oh wait, warning, you could use, no, that's just some options there. It probably says, no, it doesn't even really sort of guide you as to which ones. Options, HitTest HitTest circle, HitTest bounds. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it does look like we go through most of them, and it might be that we might want to mention the new ones in our tips. So we'll remind ourselves to do that. How we're going to do that. Okay, I have an idea. Whoop. So under updates, where we usually keep track of stuff as we're building is in a text version. Oh, top secret. 019 planning. So I'll just mention it here. Update tips to include new hit tests. And again, we'll see that at some time and do that. Anyway, those were all the updates for 018 and working through that. There's code for that which works with distill, etc. So these eventually go into the updates. And we still didn't do those. And then there's some other ones here that we didn't do either, so, or we haven't done yet. They're not really ZIM based, but sort of apps and stuff. Okay, anyway, whatever. That's our updates page, and at least I'll have a little reminder there. Let's leave you to your, whatever you're doing. You were probably busy, and we want to get back to it. So come on into ZIM, join us at Discord or forum if you want to talk to us, complain about the lengths of our bubbling videos, and we will then leave you with this fine graphic right here of ZIM Bubbling. There. Ooh, this has been a What's Bubbling at ZIM. I'm Dr. Abstract. We've got a few more to make, which we'll do right now and get posted for you. Cheers.